Alrighty, so we're going to kind of build on what we were doing with section 12.1. We're going to do surface area of the prisms and cylinders now. So with a prism, biggest thing you need to know about a prism is you have your bases. There's always two bases with a prism and they're exactly alike. Okay, and then you have what are called your lateral faces, which go around the sides. Now in a prism, the lateral faces are always rectangles. Okay, your bases are whatever. Your bases are triangles, your bases are rectangles. They can be pentagons, hexagon, whatever. But these lateral faces are always rectangles. So you'll have two bases that are the same, two triangles, two rectangles, two pentagons, but then you'll always have rectangles that are going around. Those are called the lateral faces. Now, if you notice, here is your equation for surface area of a prism. That's 2 times the area of the base. The reason why it's 2 times the area of the base, we have two bases, right? Plus the perimeter of the base times whatever the height of the figure is. If we can't figure out the base right away, we may have to find the apothem. So if you thought you were done with the apothem, well, joke's on you, you're not. And I know those are kind of trouble because they deal with all of our trigonometry stuff with sine, cosine, tangent, 30, 60, 90, triangles, things like that. So 2 times the area of the base plus perimeter of the base times height, or apothem times perimeter plus perimeter times height. Now, sometimes they won't ask you for the whole surface area. They'll only ask you for the lateral area. This part here is always your lateral area because that's the area of the lateral faces. Remember those rectangles we were talking about? The way you figure out the total lateral area is perimeter times height. And then when you factor in the bases, that's when you get the entire surface area. Now, next we have the cylinder, okay? Cylinder has a base. The base is always a circle. And then you have the height here, okay? Now, whenever you go to do these, okay, surface area is the exact same surface area as prism, only we're not talking about a polyhedra, we're talking about non-polyhedra. So it's 2 times the area of the base, because there's 2 circles, and then circumference of the base, which we know circumference is just perimeter of a circle, times the height of the cylinder. The way that you're probably going to remember it, and the easiest way to remember it, is 2 pi r squared plus pi rh. Area of a circle is pi r squared. There's 2 of them, so 2 times the area of the base, okay? And then it's 2 pi rh. So the circumference, remember, is 2 pi r, and then times your height, okay? I forgot to put the 2 in there, it's in there now. So that's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. B is the area of the base, area of a circle. H is your height. C is your circumference, which is just fancy schmancy lingo for perimeter. And then R is your radius, okay? Now, just in case you forget how to do these, what's gonna happen is you could actually look at this as a rectangle and 2 circles, okay? That's called a net. Same thing over here. What can happen is you can look at your 2 bases, but then you have, in this case, 4 other rectangles. Here's your lateral faces, here's your 2 bases. So if you wanted to, you could find the area of each of these 4 and then add them up. Same thing over here. You could find the areas of these 2 circles, and then knowing that we're dealing with 2 pi r and h, where this would be 2 pi r and that would be h. So you could do your pi r squared for the 2, and then 2 pi r h is actually just this rectangle here, okay? Let's take a look at some examples. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples here. All right, so for number 4, what we want to do is we want to find the surface area of this prism. So if we remember, the surface area is 2 times the area of the base plus perimeter of the base times the height. Now, we got to find perimeter of the base, area of the base, and the height. So here's my base. It's a rectangle, 10 times 4, area of the base is 40. Perimeter of the base, remember, Opposite sides are congruent, so that should be a 10. So add up all the sides here, you get a perimeter of 28, and then the height of the whole thing is 6. So my surface area is going to be, if I just plug these numbers into my formula here, that's going to be 2 times 40 plus 28 times 6. So 80 plus 168 gives me a surface area of 248. For the cylinder, this is number 7 now. Okay, I have a radius of 5 and a height of 15. So the radius of 5 means it goes from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. Remember, our surface area for a cylinder, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. So we're just going to plug these numbers, 5 in for r, 15 in for h. So this is 2 times pi times 5 squared plus 2 times 5, pi times 5 times 15. So that's 25 times 2, 50 pi, plus 2 times 5 is 10, times 15 is 150 pi. Now notice what I'm doing here. I'm saving the pi for last, just like you should do in real life. You should save the pi for last, okay? So I'm going to save the pi for last. The reason is I'm not dealing with any decimals until I have to at the end, because they want our answer to 2 decimal places. Well, here, when I do that, 50 and 150 is 200 pi. So now you can take your 200 times 3.14. In this case, because we estimated our pi as 3.14, we're not really going to get a decimal answer. We're going to get 628. But if you use the pi button, then you would get a decimal answer and you'd have a couple decimal places here. I want you guys to use the 3.14. That way we all are uniformly going to have the right answer or the same answer. Number 10, we have to find our missing x. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this in to our formula where surface area equals 2 times the area of the base. The area of the base is x times 6. So that's 2 times x times 6 plus the perimeter of the base. Now, remember, the perimeter is x plus x, which is 2x, 6 plus 6, which is 12, times the height, which is 8. Okay? So now there's my equation. So what I want to do now is I want to solve this for x. So 320 equals 2 times 6 is 12x. And now we're going to distribute the 8. So that becomes plus 16x plus 96. Now the reason why I have that 2x plus 12 there, okay, is because, why it's in parentheses, is because that's the entire perimeter. All right, remember we're doing this as our formula. So 320 equals then 28x plus 96 when we subtract 96 to 24 equals 28x, and when we divide by 28, x is going to equal 8. So 8 then is our missing side in our prism. So your job, page 229, 230, 4 through 12, wash your hands, save a life.